today. Let me see your yes in the chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's time to take our roll call. It's time to take our attendance. Welcome, Tani. It's always good to have you in class. Tani from Zaria, Kaduna. Good morning, Abdul Wahab. If you are in the class, let me see your yes in the chat. Good morning, Oluwakemi. Good morning, Faisal. Good morning, Olatunji. Good morning, Bolaji. Good morning, Moses. It's nice connecting with you again this morning. Welcome to a new week where we learn a new skill, and I'm excited to tell you or let you know that this is going to be our final learning track for the DSA 2025 Free High Class in every city. It has been a journey and it has been an awesome one. We started with the data storytelling and visualization. We'll move on to Python for data science and machine learning, which marks the end of the beginners learning track. And last week was an awesome one when we had our first diving into the fundamentals of prompt engineering. And today we are going to be moving to the advanced learning track, which is end-to-end data analytics with Microsoft Fabrics. And this course is designed to help you as an aspiring data scientist, an aspiring data analyst, and then an aspiring data engineer to know the exact tool you need to be able to navigate your career. Yeah, so this is going to be an exciting one and it's going to be happening for the next 3 days. So we're going to be having this live session today. Then the next class will be on Wednesday and the next class will be on Friday. Yeah, so this is our agenda for today briefly because of our new friends, our new committee members who are just joining the call. We're going to be telling them about Data Science Nigeria, and then we're going to be talking about the journey to the AI bootcamp because the reason why we're actually here in the free AI classes class is to leverage this opportunity to be able to attend the DSN 2025 AI bootcamp. Some of us already know about the AI bootcamp, while some of us are just hearing for the first time. So I'm going to be doing a detailed brief about the DSN AI Bootcamp 2025. So I was saying we're going to be moving straight to the end-to-end data analytics with Microsoft Fabrics, and I'm excited to tell you that our facilitator for today is already on the call. Yeah, so we have 43 people on the call already. This is exciting. It's exciting because many people want to learn Microsoft Fabric. They want to know how to use Microsoft Fabric for end-to-end data analytics. So quickly, let me introduce us to DSN. We have a commitment to raise 1 million AI talent and build AI solutions that improve the quality of life and well-being of 2 billion people in the emerging market. This is our mission and vision that has been driving everything that we do at DSN. And we have 5 pillars which we do call our core. I mean, we do say this is our core at DSN. Whenever you are hearing DSN, this is everything about us. The community development, the ecosystem development, the research, the capacity building, and consulting and product development. So I'm going to be, doing justice to those 5 things in my next slide. I'm talking about the DSN AI community. The DSN AI community is the foundation, it's the bedrock of DSN. We have a learning reach in over 96 countries, and the way the community is structured, we structure the community in such a way that everybody can key into the community. Talk of our AI in the campus community, the club communities, the AI for kids and teens, the ladies in AI. We have something for everybody. We have AI for professionals, we have AI for executive. And then we're going to be talking about why do you need to be a DSNer? I mean, why do you need to be a DSNer? There are opportunities in the community for everyone. Access to mentorship opportunities is like the first one that tops our priority. That we want everybody because this is how it goes. In life, believe that nobody is meant to be stressed. Yeah, and that's why we always provide these mentorship opportunities for all our community members to key into. You can let somebody hold you by the hand. The tech world is actually very hard if you are just coming in as a beginner. So we'll make sure that we provide mentorship opportunities for all our community members to make you with so that they can hold you by your hand and navigate you through this journey of the tech world. And then we'll have access to premium training content and facilities. Yeah, access to premium. So this is one of the trainings that we're having now. Some of us are familiar with the annual learning calendar already. The annual learning calendar is structured in a way that from January to December, there is something for everybody. In January, we started with a mentorship. In February, we continue with our mentorship. In March, we had the DSN Research Masterclass. And then in the month of May now, we're currently doing our free high class. So this is an annual learning calendar that will follow, that will run through the year so that everybody is learning something at a particular time. And we have research support and collaboration. We are very heavy on research when it comes to the when you hear DSN, you'll probably be even hearing us more in the times of doing research and churning out products compared to community, because now the research community and the DSN community itself they are weighing each other out. So we are very, very heavy on research. And lastly, there is a certificate of participation for all community members that are key into our event throughout the year. So yeah, so we issue out a certificate of participation to tell you that yes, you've passed through our training and we've certified you, and we can actually vouch for you that yes, you've learned something through the year. So to become a DSN, and this is a quick link to access. This is also a QR code that you can quickly scan to become a DSN member, because it is very important for you as a DSN member to have an AI membership ID. By the time you fill this form, you are going to be able to generate your own personal, your own unique, your own peculiar DSN AI membership ID, which you are going to be using to access a lot of benefits, a lot of opportunities in the community. So the way the community is structured, like I was saying, we have the campus community and the city communities. We've been able to make sure that at the DSN Central here, we can pass on information, and this information can go into different channels such a way that there's a nearby community near you that can bring that information to your doorstep. Yeah, so that's how we've structured the community. The information can get to your doorstep through your community ambassador. So across the country, we have our campus community and the city communities, and we have community ambassadors who are championing the community, so they can always bring the information to your doorstep. So this is a QR code to scan for you to be able to join a nearby DSN community. And I need to also inform us that after this fair classes meetup, after this virtual learning sessions, we are going to be having a physical meetup across our cities. Yeah, in the month of June and July, we're going to be having a physical meetup across. So it's very important for you to join your DSN WhatsApp community so that you can keep to date on the update. So this is the annual learning calendar. This is the link. This is the QR code for you to scan to see how our learning has been created, how we've created our learnings from January to December. And you can also scan the DXN Knowledge Box. DXN Knowledge Box is a repository of over 25,000 learning content. Yeah, I repeat, over 25,000 learning content. Talk of content on AI, talk of content on data analysis, talk of content on data science, talk of content on data engineering, anything you want to learn in this space, you can find it in the DSN knowledge box. And this knowledge box 4.0 is actually telling you that this is an updated knowledge box. We just created this. So one we had 25,000 learning content in the knowledge box. Yeah, so speaking quickly to the journey to the AI bootcamp, the journey to the AI bootcamp has actually begun. It has started. Yeah, I'm repeating that it has started. It starts every year with our free classes in every city, which you are now partaking in. And after these free classes, we are going to be doing what we call the hackathon and project participation. So this is more like what you can use to assess your learning for the past few weeks. So you do what we call project participation if you are on the data analytics side, or you do what we call an hackathon if you are on the machine learning side. And we also have the AI side for everybody to key into. And after that, we're going to be moving to what we call the 30-day pre-bootcamp learning, which is scheduled to start in July. So this is a journey to the AI bootcamp. In September, we are going to be announcing the attendees. The very final people, the best of the best talent that will be attending the DSN AI Bootcamp. And the AI Bootcamp itself this year is scheduled to be happening in October. So it's very important for you to start preparing to be able to participate. So you can see these are pictures from last year of our DSM free eye classes. So last year was actually physical, but this year we're doing what we call an hybrid, the virtual live session, and then we'll move to the physical meetup in June and July. And so this is the DSN Bootcamp. Like I said, it's a gathering of the best talent. The very best of the best. So I'm really looking forward to also see you attend the DSN 2025 AI Bootcamp. The last one here at University of Lagos, you can see pictures from the event. These are highlights from the event. These are more pictures from the event. These are more pictures from the event. The AI Bootcamp is always structured into what we call practical learning, theoretical learning, lifestyle learning, awards and recognition, a lot of a lot of packed activities for us. You can see more pictures from DSNF. It's always an exciting one for us. We also have a poster session at the DSNA bootcamp. We always reach out to all our community members who are doing exciting things. Like I told you before, we are very heavy on research, so we give this opportunity for all our community members to come and showcase their research prowess. Yeah, so the free eye classes have started. This is the fourth week now. We started with the data storytelling and visualization. We move on to the Python for data science and machine learning. We move on to the introduction to prompt engineering. And today we are here for the Microsoft Fabrics for data analytics. I think I should congratulate everyone for your persistence and your commitment to actually doing this. This is the fourth week. I think we all deserve to celebrate ourselves in the chat room. We deserve to celebrate ourselves in the chat room. Use your favorite emoji to celebrate yourself in the chat room. It has been an awesome 4 weeks of learning. It has been an awesome 4 weeks of learning. Congratulations to everyone. This is actually our final week of the DSN 25 free AI classes virtual learning sessions. And after this week, we are going to be moving on to the hackathon and project participation. So this is the timeline for us to remember how we are delivering the session. Yes, so we're going to be moving straight to our speaking session. Like I told you, our facilitator is already on the call. She's going to be holding our hand as we go through this journey of learning end-to-end data analytics with Microsoft Fabric together. I am then please confirm you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. So, good morning, everyone. We are going to be taking, I'm just going to just give a brief bio about me. So, my name is Mbotside Mawak. I am a data analyst and I love writing. I'm a technical writer and I'm also very heavy on community building. So, we're not going to be taking, we're just going to, for today, which is also an introduction class, we're going to be seeing how to work extensively with Microsoft Fabric. So just give me a few minutes to share my screen. Yo, welcome. So like I said, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another awesome session with the DSN. So we are going to be looking at end-to-end analytics with Microsoft Fabric. I'm going to be looking at the chatbot. I want you just give me an idea. What is the first thing that comes when someone say, oh, in fact, just give me a definition of Microsoft Fabric in just 2 seconds. I want this session to be as interactive as possible. So I won't just be the only one talking. I also want to see I also want to see your ideas, and we are going to also collaborate. And by the end of this session, we are going to have a practical demo. So we will not just be doing the whole talking. We're also going to have a demo session. So I'm just going to be briefly be looking at the chatbot and see what we have. So someone is saying an automated application for data analysis. So it's just for, like I said, in 2 seconds, and we're just going to kickstart. And we're going to go right deeper into the session. Yeah, thank you very much for that definition, an automated application for data analysis. Well, I don't think I'll actually call it that. It's a tool that simplifies data analysis. Oh, wow, that's awesome. So you guys also be my teachers for today. Okay, so okay, I think I have another fine definition, which says, excellent. So this is what I needed, is an end-to-end data analytic platforms that integrates data engineering, data science, real-time analytics, business intelligence, and so on. Oh, this is your first time hearing it. Awesome, awesome. So you're actually going to be learning a lot in this session. Oh, it's your first time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a tool that packages everything. Okay, okay. So let's delve right into it. So I'm just going to, we are going to be delving right into it. So for today's session, we are going to look at what is Fabric. We're also going to delve deeper. We're also going to understand one leg. We're also going to understand lake houses. We're going to be understanding a lot of these terms. We're also going to look at Power BI semantic models, data science, and real-time analytics. And if time permits, we're also going to work on an end-to-end analytics solution. But with the knowledge that we are going to gather in the 3 days, it will save as more like a kickstart for you to know you to work on any of these platforms. So moving forward, we are going to understand Microsoft Fabric. Yeah, someone gave an interesting definition that is an all-in-one analytic platform, which saves as the definition that I was actually looking for. Meanwhile, before we moved on to the definition, yeah, your definition is correct. That is an all-in-one analytic platform. We want to see the traditional challenge that Microsoft Fabric is trying to solve. So imagine yourself in a scenario working in a data company. Oh, I didn't even ask that. I feel, yeah, everyone can hear me. So if you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask. So imagine yourself in a scenario working in a data company with different tools. So let's say we have tools, for example, we have tools for data integration, we have tools for data science, we have tools for real-time analytics, data pipelines, and so on and so forth. So maybe you wanted to do some real-time analytics or visualize our data, or we just wanted to create a report. So like some of us, you must be familiar with Power BI. Power BI is a very popular tool for visualization. So let's say you wanted to visualize your data. So all of this is coming from different tools, which makes it even more complicated environment and difficult to integrate your data. So these different tools are not even, you could say I'm on my screen, I have multiple tools. So these multiple tools are tools for data science, for data engineering, for data integration, real-time analytics, data pipelines, and so on. This comprises of multiple tools. So in these multiple tools is not just coming from only one vendor, but we use multiple vendors for those tools. You can also see that you can see my cursor, I have here multiple vendors. So these multiple vendors, we use multiple vendors for those tools, which is now adding to the complexity of our data. And it's even made it more complicated to integrate everything into one unified experience, one end-to-end solution. So it is this problem that Microsoft is trying to solve. So the problem Microsoft is trying to solve, we have everything encompasses into one platform. So Microsoft Fabric is solving this problem by covering everything from data movement to data science, to real-time analytics, to business intelligence, and all of this is offered in one comprehensive suite of different services. And this include, as we have mentioned, everything from data lake to data engineering to data integration. We have Power BI. You can say I have data factory, data science, data warehousing, data engineering, Power BI, and real-time analytics. Everything is housed on one lake. So we're also going to be understanding what one lake is all about, and you also see when I stock up, everything is housed in one leg. So when working with data, all of the different tools that they can be used to integrate our platform, like you can like for example in Microsoft Fabric, you can switch between different roles in Microsoft Fabric. You can switch between your data science role, or a data engineering role, or a visualization role. And with this, we don't need to move your data between these different tools, different services, different vendors, but everything is within one platform. And the foundation of this platform is one lake. So I don't know if I got that, if I'm able to break that concept down for you to understand. And that's why I gave you the first slide, understanding Microsoft Fabric. So before you delved into the definition, you try to know, oh, what was the before and what was the after. So this was the traditional challenges where we had multiple tools and multiple vendors. So it was actually very difficult to integrate data integration, data science, and so on and so forth with multiple tools and multiple vendors. So with Microsoft Fabric, everything is in one analytical solution, and you are also going to be seeing that practically. So I talked about OneLake. So OneLake is like our central data repository. This is like a managed data lake that is storing all our data. It is not also storing our data. We are also able to create shortcuts to our external files. So when I move on to the practical demo session, you also see how to create shortcuts. So this means that if we have some files, for let's example, in AWS cloud or in another cloud provider, for example, an Azure container, you don't need to physically move this data to the OneLake. So you can create those shortcuts. You can, if you want to have access to that data, you can have access to that data using a shortcut. So you don't necessarily need to move the data. You don't necessarily need to create complex data pipelines. So the data through the one shortcut appears to be in our OneLake. So OneLake is built on top of Azure Data Lake Storage, so ADLS, and OneLake also supports various files formats. So there's also a Q&A session, not Q&A session. So pay attention because I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. I have an assessment for you all. That's for knowledge check to make sure you're following the session. So it supports different data. We have the Delta format, we have the Parquet format, we have the CSV format, we also have the JSON format. So all these compute engines in Fabric automatically stores their data in OneLake, making it directly accessible without the need for movement or duplicating your data. So for tabular data, which also get to see them practically, the analytical engine in Fabric writes data in Delta Parquet format, and all engines interact with the format seamlessly. So moving forward, we're going to talk about, let's understand what I mean by workspace. I use this as an example. Let's say we have data factory, data science. You're already familiar with, as a data engineer, you create pipelines. You build pipelines in your data. So when we talk of create items within Fabric workload, so this is where you also get to see practically, we have data engineering, we can also create data in the data factory, data science, and so on. So as a data engineer, you create lake houses and operationalized workflows to build, transform, and a whole lot of that. So I don't really do well with definitions. We're going to be seeing a lot of things practically. So we also have the data factory where they ingest and transform the data. We have the data science. So if you have data scientists in the house, so this is where you build your machine learning models. So this is where you train your models. So you don't necessarily need to use a different software. You don't necessarily need to use a different product, like, or a different vendor. So everything is integrated into one analytics solution. So we also have items for data warehouse. This is your traditional data warehouse for your analytics, where you write your SQL queries and so on. We also have databases to create and manage databases and so on. We also have industry solution, real-time analytics, and if time permits, we're also going to be looking at real-time analytics. So we are working on a real-time data. So you want to see when your sales, for example, for real-time, you want to see when your sales has increased, maybe let's say by 5%, or you want to see when your sales has increased maybe by 10%. So with real-time analytics, real-time data, it's going to automate it for you in real time. It's going to give you a notification, like an alert, that your sales has increased. And another thing I want to make reference of, that real-time analytics uses KQL. It uses Kotlin query language. So I will not really say it's similar, like database interacts with when we talk of databases, they interact with how is it called? They interact with relational database, SQL. If you're familiar with SQL, you're familiar with Postgres. But when we are working with real-time analytics, that's real-time intelligence, we'll be working with strictly with KQL, which is Kotso's query language. So you're also going to be seeing a lot of new concepts, interesting also. So I'm sure you have from a lot of 90% of everyone on the call is familiar with Power BI. So Power BI, you create a report, you build your dashboard to make data-driven decisions, either to your stakeholders, to the chairman of the board company, and so on. So this is just for me to explain what we mean by everything in one analytic platform. So you can use one copy of data for either to build visuals. You can still use that one copy of data for your data science to train your machine learning models. You can also use that one copy of data for data pipelines, which is the data engineering aspect. And you can also use that one same copy of data for real-time analytics. So moving forward, I'm just going to break down some buzzwords. So let's talk. I've talked about the One Lake, that the One Lake is a centralized storage system. So it's just an invisible layer. So just if you're familiar with Microsoft Office suites, we have OneDrive. Yeah, so think of OneDrive as one lake. So as Microsoft Office suite has OneDrive, Fabric houses one lake. So we are also going to talk about we're also going to talk about workspaces. So workspaces, they serve as a container that helps us it serves as a container. It serves as a logical container that helps us organize and manage your data, reports, and your assets. So think of a workspace like a container that holds our items. And of course, we can also create multiple workspaces. So for example, you're working in a company. In that company, you can have workspaces you can have different projects or for users or for customers or maybe for different departments. So they act as a unit of a container where we can all grant permissions and they can hold all our items that we create. So we're actually going to be seeing a lot of things practically. Sorry, I'm saying a lot. We're going to be moving on to the practical session soon. And when we talk about the lake house, the lake house is an item that is actually created within our workspace. So when I open Fabric, you're going to be seeing a lot of them practically. So we need to have a workspace as a container to create items because our data lake or one lake is just an invisible layer. So when you create a new lake house, looking at my diagram, I hope you can see my diagram. So when you create a new lake house, you have three different items automatically created in your workspace. The Lakehouse contains shortcuts like folders, like files, and so on and so forth. So this you can see, this is my Lakehouse under my types. This is my Lakehouse. So when you create a Lakehouse, you have three items or three different data items automatically created for you. So you could see on my types, I have my Lakehouse. So my Lakehouse contains shortcuts, folder, files, and tables. And in my semantic models, so when you use semantic models, you're familiar with Power BI. So this is where I can easily I create my Power BI reports and so on and so forth. So for my SQL Analytic endpoint, my SQL Analytic endpoint allowed read-only access to query data in my SQL query. So in my SQL Analytic endpoint, I can't create a table. I think I'll be talking about that mode of that in detail when we come to warehouse. So you can work in data in two modes in your lake house. You can see when we get practically you see, so this is just a pictorial representation of how the lake house look like. So we have lake house. This is where you explore. This is where you explore your data files and folders. And we also have SQL analytics endpoint. So this is where you query your data using SQL. So in your lakehouse, you can actually analyze your data using SQL. You can also train your machine learning models. You can also perform analytics on real-time data, and you can also develop reports in Power BI. So your lakehouse serves different reasons. So having said that, we haven't talked about that. I'm just going to go back to my previous slide. So you could see my warehouse. We'll still come back to the warehouse. So you see the difference between the lakehouse and the warehouse. You're also going to see how to upload. This is for uploads. These are some words you might come across. So upload local files, import and transform data using Power Query. That's for data flow gen 2. So data flow gen 2 is if you are familiar with Power BI, you should be familiar with Power Query. So Power Query is a different service in the Power BI environment that allows you to transform your data. You perform a lot of data transformation, data cleaning in your Power BI. So we also have notebooks. So your notebooks you also be coming to Apache Spark to ingest, transform, and load our data. And we also, if time permits, also get to look at data factory pipelines, use the copy data activities, and shortcuts. We'll get to see shortcuts when we move to the demo session. You don't necessarily have to copy your data because it also creates redundancy. You don't necessarily need to duplicate your data. So this is where you're going to say, oh, I want to have access to an external source or internal source. Everything is within your workspace. So moving forward, I've talked about this. So let's do a brief knowledge check. So let's just do knowledge check for 2 minutes, and I'm going to switch to the demo session. So my knowledge check, what is the key benefits of using Microsoft Fabric in data projects? A, it allows data professionals to work independently without collaboration. B, it requires duplicating data across systems to ensure availability. C, it provides a single integrated environment for collaboration on data project. Wow, I'm awesome. I'm already seeing, wow, this is awesome. I'm already seeing a lot of answers. It means you are following and I'm proud of you. Yeah, thank you very much. The correct answer is C. So let's get a little bit more dicey. I'm saying you're going to sit on a very hot seat. So what is the default storage format for Fabric OneLake? A, Delta Paquet. B, JSON. C, CSV. I'm waiting for the answers. I'm waiting for the answers. That's looking a little bit dicey. Who is going home with? Let's say we are working with. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of answers. Awesome, awesome. I'm seeing A and C. Almost everybody is saying A and C, A and C. So which should I choose? Which should I choose? Should we do a pool? Should we go for? Okay, yeah, the correct answer is A. The correct answer is A, Delta Paquet. And lastly, we also have which fabric experience is used to move and transform data. I'm waiting for the answer. Data science, data warehouse, data factory. Let's see who get that right. Awesome, awesome. I really love this session. I love that you're answering questions. We are saying B. Okay, awesome. So Bolaji Abinkoya, correct answer goes to you. You got the answer correctly. So the answer is your data factory. Your data factory is used to move and transform your data. So I think I can also go back to this. Did I have data factory? You could see use copy data activity. Yeah, I used to ingest, transform, orchestrate your data. So we're also going to be looking at a lot of things practically. So I've talked about shortcuts. I've talked about data factories. Also gave an assessment. So we are going to be looking everything. I'm just going to do a quick recap where I talked about understanding Microsoft's Fabric. What problem was Microsoft Fabric trying to solve? So it tries to solve the problems of multiple tools, multiple vendors. For instance, we have data integration tools, we have data science tools, data engineering, real-time analytics. Let's say you want to visualize your report. So multiple vendors, it makes it very difficult for you to do what? Integrate your data. So Microsoft Fabric has solved that problem with all-in-one analytic platform. And we have data factory, data science, data warehouse, data engineering, Power BI, real-time analytics, and all these platforms are sitting in our OneLake. And our OneLake, like I said, is a centralized data storage. So it's a repository. So think of it as OneDrive. You know, in Microsoft Office Suite, we have OneDrive. So I've talked about workspace, I've talked about Lakehouse. We'll be coming to warehouse. I'm actually keeping that in suspense. And we also see how to upload our data. Briefly, we'll see data flow gen to notebooks and so on. and so forth. So this is a pictorial representation of my lake house. So whenever you create a lake house, three items is automatically created for you. We have your lake house, you have the semantic models, you have the SQL analytics endpoint. So I've done the knowledge checks. So I'm just doing a quick recap for people that will not that actually join us late. So in a few minutes, I'm sure you have a lot of questions for me. So I don't know if you have any question before we moved on to the practical session. Okay, so in the absence of question, we're going to be moving on practically, and let's switch to. Please just confirm you can see my screen. Oh, wow, loud and clear. Just confirm you can see my Microsoft Fabric screen. Okay, you can. So I'm sure a lot of questions people are going to ask me, how did I get here? So when you want to, Microsoft is not like a physical tool. Let me put it that way. It's not like a physical tool. It is a software as a service. That's a SaaS platform. So everything is you have to access it online. So for you to be able to access Microsoft Fabric online, let me take this down. I'm actually going to say app. You could see app period fabric period Microsoft.com. So when I click on that, I'm trying to launch it newly. It's going to ask you sign in your account. So I'm already have my Microsoft Fabric signed in. I'm just trying to show you how to sign into Microsoft Fabric. So you sign into Microsoft Fabric using this highlighted app app period fabric period Microsoft.com. So let's know that you're following me and so I can move right in. Okay, yeah, I think, yeah, we're going to paste that. Like I said, app period fabric period Microsoft.com. So that's the link to for you to be able to access fabric. So there are a lot of things to learn. I'm also going to start off by so this is a I'm talking about Power BI. This is a Microsoft Fabric interface. So you don't necessarily need to know everything. You don't need to know data engineering. You don't need to know data science. You don't need to know data factory. Just look for a particular field, look for a particular ecosystem, look for a particular ecosystem and work with it. So you can say, oh, in this Microsoft Fabric, I just want to know data science. In this Microsoft Fabric, I just want to know data engineering, or I just want to know Power BI. So look for a particular field that suits your interest and try to work and increase your knowledge. And another thing I felt to announce that Microsoft Fabric is the biggest announcement after I think it was SQL Saver, if I'm not mistaken, is the biggest announcement in Microsoft. So moving forward, this is my Welcome to Fabric platform. We have what is Microsoft Fabric. If you want to know more about Microsoft Fabric, you want to know how to ingest your data, build a lakehouse, build a warehouse, and so on. So this is your interface where you can actually learn a lot about fabric. So I also have new workspace. We're also going to be learning how to create a new workspace. Yeah, you could see create a new workspace. We're going to be learning about how to create a new workspace. So there are a lot of documentations in Fabric that you can read on. So on my experience, this is my Fabric experience. You can see I can switch between Fabric and I can also switch between Power BI experience. So, and you can also see that on the left-hand side, I have my home tab, I have my workspaces, my one lake, I have my monitor, my real-time analytics, my workloads, my and my workspace. So we're going to be taking them one after the other for to save time and everything. You could also explore them. So on my home tab, this is my home tab. So on my workspaces shows you a list of workspaces that you have created. So like I said in our theoretical aspect, think of a workspace as a container. That's what I said. Think of it as a container. So Okay, let me bring it down to the level of the levels. Let's just bring it down to real world experience. Let's say you are a carpenter, you have nails, you have cement, and so on. Or just think of all this hammer related kind of work. So in hammer related kind of work, and you're telling yourself, oh, I want to go into carpentry work. So imagine going to south to fetch your carpenter, your yeah, you're going to south to fetch your hammer, going to east to fetch your nails, going to different locations to fetch those items. So think of your container housing every item. So think of everything inside your container. So just think of a workspace as a container. So this container houses everything you need. You don't need to go, oh, I'm going to the southern region to get this, I'm going to the eastern region to get this. So I hope that's explanatory. Enough of that. So we moved on. These are my workspaces. These are the different workspaces I have. And for this session, I'm going to be creating a new workspace. So let me X this out and go over that again. So for me to create a new workspace on my Fabric experience, like I come to, or you can say this, my welcome to Fabric, I can say new workspace, or I can simply go to my workspaces and I'm going to say new workspace. So you can see, go to workspace, you see the plus icon. Let me X this out. Go to my workspace. I'm going to see my plus icon. So I'm going to say new workspace. So when I click on new workspace, it's asking me what is the name of your workspace. So for the sake of this session, I'm going to give this session DSN workspace. We could say DSN space. Let's leave it like that. DSN space. I think I'm going to go with that. So for DSN space, I'm also going to click on, I'm just going to leave this optional description. Can you describe the workspace? So I'm going to leave that optional. My domain, I'm also going to leave that optional. So in this, my advanced session, my advanced is just saying, oh, this is the owner of this account, license, trial, and so on and so forth. So I'm just also going to leave this optional. So I'm just going to click on apply. So when I create a new workspace, you are going to see when I create a new workspace, you are going to see that my new workspace is empty. So I don't know if you, okay, I think I'm going to be taking question after the class just so you understand. It's good to pay attention so you understand what I want to, because me also have questions for each and every one of us. So you see that I've created my new workspace, and now that I have created my new workspace is empty. It's empty, right? My new workspace is empty. So the next thing in my workspace, this is where I talk about items. So you can see in my workspace, I have new items, I have new folders, import, migrate, and so on and so forth. So you can also see on the left-hand side, right on the right-hand side, we have managed access. So let's say you are working in people within your administrator, or let's just say maybe sales department, and you want this particular persons to have access to this workspace. You want to restrict access. When we'll be coming to, I actually want to permit us, if you have the time, we also get to look at row level security in Microsoft Fabric. This will really explain what I mean by workspace. You want people to have access to your workspace. And the people that should have access to your workspace are people within your organization. If these people are not within your organization, they can't have access to your workspace. So you can see options for add people or groups. So you're just going to leave it at that and create apps. This is for Power BI and your workspace settings. So this is where you can say, oh, I want to remove my workspace. So I'm also going to be showing us how to remove our workspace. So like I've said, on my menu bar, you see I have new item. So I've said that on my workspace, I have my workspace new and clean. So now that I have my workspace, you are going to be creating your first lake house. You're going to see how to create your first lake house. So for me to be able to create my first lake house, I'm going to go to my new item. So when I go to new item, so you could see get data options. You can use copy, drop, data pipelines, Data Flow Gen 2, and so on, Event Stream. We have Azure Data Lake. We have a host lot of items. We have your notebooks for training your models. We also have Lakehouse. So we are going to be focusing on the Lakehouse. So how did I go about that? Let me X this out. On after creating my workspace, I go to new item. So on new item, I can either quickly search for Lakehouse. So someone that is coming for the first time, instead of, it's either I quickly search for Lakehouse, which I love to do that most often, or you can just, go through all this event stream. So this event stream will have to do with our this event stream will have to do with our, this is for real-time analytics. So that has to do with event stream, you have your machine learning models, and so on and so forth. So I'm sure you're familiar with those concepts. So I'm just quickly going to search for Lakehouse, and Lakehouse is going to pop up. So what did I say? Lakehouse organizes query and store your data in an easily retrievable format. So for this, my Lakehouse, it's going to ask me for a name. So I'm just going to call it DSN Lake. I think I'm just going to call it DSN Lake. I don't want to write it in full. I'm just going to leave it at that. DSN Lake. So as I'm calling it DSN, also, I think, let me just leave it in small letters. I don't need anything to give me error. So you can either choose to Lakehouse, you can choose to make it public preview, your schema to be public preview, or you can just choose to untick it. You just click on click. So I'm just going to unclick it, untick it rather. So I'm going to create a new Lakehouse. So we're just going to wait for our Lakehouse to load. And when our Lakehouse load, you can see that this is my new Lakehouse that I just created. And on the Lakehouse Explorer spin, this is you can see where my cursor is. So this is my Lakehouse Explorer spin. And you see I have tables and I also have files. So these tables contains tables that you can query using SQL semantics. So your tables consist of structured data. So you already have an idea, oh, table has to be in a structured format, right? But when we talk of files like Lakehouse, your tables has to be in unstructured formats. That's files you can bring in any data from different formats, semi-structured, unstructured, and a structured format. So unlike my Lakehouse folders contains data files in one lake storage. For the Lakehouse that I really, when you talk of file, let me just leave out the, let me just, in simple terms, it is actually for different types of file formats you have. You can create them in your files. And this your tables enables only your structured data, that's data in tabular forms. So tables in Microsoft Fabric Lakehouse are based on the open source Delta Lake file format commonly used in Apache Spark. So we also get to see Apache Spark when we are working with the data science experience. So you also get to see what I mean by Delta tables. So currently, you see that there are no tables or files in my Lakehouse. My Lakehouse is actually empty. You could see, if I use these three ellipses for the drop down, you can see I'm just exploring. You can see I have new shortcuts, new subfolders, upload, and so on and so forth. Same thing also goes to tables, new shortcut, prop face, and so on and so forth. So you can get data in your Lakehouse in different sources. You can get data from upload files. You can get data from start with sample data, new shortcuts, new data gen 2, and so on and so forth. So we are also going to be getting our data from files. So we have that in our files, we are going to have that we are going to upload our data. In our files, we are going to upload our data. So I'm just going to create new subfolder. So you can choose not to create yours. So I'm just going to create my own. I'm going to tap it. I'm going to give my subfolder a name, which is data. So I'm just going to click on create. So when I click on create, you can see on this my subfolder, I have load on my subfolder, I have load to table. That's when we import the data. We have not yet uploaded the data. We have new shortcuts and so on and so forth. So I'm quickly going to come down to my upload and I'm going to say upload file. So if it was for a folder, you just upload folder. So we are just going to click on upload files. So when I click on upload files, I'm just going to browse through this. So when I browse through this, in a minute, so I'm going to select my sales data and I'm going to click on open. So you see that we have a clause here that says a command that says override if this file already exists. So I don't think I'm just creating my workspace. So I don't think the file exists. I'm just going to click on upload. So after the files have been uploaded, you can see that this file has been uploaded. So I'm just going to X this out. When I X it out, I'm going to come to my data of my files. So let's see if the files has been uploaded. We want to verify that our sales CSV files has been uploaded. So I'm going to come to data. So when I have my data selected, you're going to see sales period CSV. So if I should select the sales period CSV, you're going to see a preview of our data. So you can see that this data is actually in an unstructured format. You can see that, right? It's not in a tabular format. So for us to be able to convert this data to a tabular format is what we are going to be doing shortly. So this is just a preview of our data. So I'm just going to X that out and so on. But there before then, there's some okay, I think maybe we should finish that. Okay, yeah. So in another thing, how do we get this data? How do we convert it to how do we load it to a table? How do we do that? So we do that by simply using the three ellipses on the load to table options. But before we load to table options, I want to bring in another data. So let's try to bring in another data. I'm going to right click on files and I'm going to say upload. So I'm going to say upload files. I think I should even give it a shortcut. So let's create new subfolder for it. If I want to, so let's just call it JSON files. Let it be a JSON, let's say, I think JSON2. So I'm going to say create. I'm creating a folder. This is for a CSV file, and this is a folder for a JSON file. So there's something I want us to see. If not, I wouldn't bring the JSON file in. So I'm just going on my JSON file. I'm just going to click on these three ellipses. So I'm going to say upload. So when I say upload, I'm going to select files. You already know how to go about that. So I'm going to go to my others folder. So I'm going to select my data. So my data has to be in a JSON format. So I'm just going to click on upload. So you can see now that we have two types of data. We have the CSV and we also have the JSON file. So now, what is a peculiar reason I brought this in? Let's switch over to the data view. Let's switch over to the data folder I created for the sales CSV. And I created this one for data for JSON. So on sales CSV, if I click on these three ellipses, you see load to table. We don't have any existing table. That's why this is grayed out. So on the new table, it's going to load our data into this table. But on this other option, let's go to JSON. On JSON, if I should click these three ellipses, you don't have the load to data option. How do you go about that? That's the question. So I'm waiting to see your answers before the end of the session. So let's quickly, if time permits me, I'm going to work on that. So let's quickly move forward. We have a lot to cover up. So I'm going to switch, okay, on my desk, on my cell CSV, I'm just come to my cell CSV. I'm going to say load to table. So if I load to table option, you would notice that I don't have, there's no existing table. You see, this table is empty. This table here is empty. So you will see that my load to data option, this table is empty. So when I load this, when I convert this data to a table format, you're going to see this data in this table. So that's where you're going to see it. So I'm just going to come back here. I'm going to say load to table. I'm going to say new table. So it's asking me to give my table a name, and I'm going to give my table a name. But before we do that, I think I quickly wanted to show us shortcut, how to create shortcuts. You don't need to move your data. You don't need to copy your data. So let's say I want to use this stereo ellipsis. I'm going to say, we want to see how to create shortcuts. So in the menu items on my files, let's say I want to bring in shortcuts. So you could see, I see in this menu items where we have three ellipses, I'm going to say new shortcut. So it's going to launch the shortcut wizard. You're going to see it has Microsoft one, like this is the one within our fabric. You're also going to see external sources in our data. So we have external sources, Amazon S3, Amazon S3 compatibility, and so on and so forth. So we're just going to X that out. I just wanted to show us how to create shortcuts. So shortcut enables you to include externally sourced data in your analytics solution without you going to the risk of inconsistencies associated with copying your data. So we are not going to be creating a shortcut. I just wanted to show you how to create a shortcut. So let's load our file table into let's load our file data into our table. So my file data, you should know by now how to load your data. So in my load to table, you see in my menu, I've selected load to table. So when I click on load to table, I'm going to say new table. So in my load to table dialog box, I'm going to set the name as cells, and I'm also going to confirm the load operation, that is use headers for column name. So when I do that, I'm just going to click on load. In a few minutes, you're going to see that my data has been created. So I want to say this, okay, my data has been created. You can see that this is going to, if you can't see this, or if you create it in yours and you can't see it, you go to on your table, just select this refresh icon and you will see your data. So files for a delta table. So this is how, let me X this out. So this is how a delta table looks like. So files for a delta table are stored in packet format. So this is my packet format. So let me click on my sales table. This is just a preview of my data. This table was not loaded. It came in an unstructured format and we converted it into a table. So if I should click on using this stereo ellipsis, so if I should click on view files, so if I should click on view files, you should, like I said, that files for delta tables. You see these delta tables, they are stored in a packet format. And this packet format includes subfolders named delta logs, in which details of the transactions are applied to the table are logged. And it also includes, this is folder and this is a packet format. Anyway, that one is just outside within us. So I'm going to switch over to my sales table, and this is just a preview of my data. This is just a preview of my data. So a preview of my data, I'm going to quickly, before we start querying our data, let's load JSON format. Let's load JSON. So for a JSON folder, I'm thinking of going ahead with this first. So let's go ahead with this first. We'll come back to it just. So I'm going to switch back to my SQL Analytic endpoint. So this is my lakehouse where you explore your data files and folders. So in your SQL Analytic endpoint, this is where you query your data. If you're familiar with SQL, this is where you query your data, you write your new queries, and so on. You could see that this is my schema. So schema is your default schema in your database. So I have my queries, I have shared queries, and so on and so forth. So DBO is my default schema. So this is my table, this is my sales table. So in my sales table, I'm going to start with new SQL queries. So for new SQL queries, I can just say select, use a SQL statement. I'm going to say select item. Okay, before we do that, let's see everything we have in our table. So from sales is from our sales data. I'm going to say select high streak from sales. So if I should run this query, you see all the information I have on my sales table. So you can see sales, orders, order dates, customers, emails, and so on and so forth. So let's say I don't want to see everything in this table. I can choose to go to use a new query. I can choose to use a new query. Let's say I don't want to see all the information. I don't, or you already, if you're familiar, you already know to write SQL queries. So let's say I don't want to see all the information in this table. I'm going to say select high streak. I'm going to say no, select items. I don't want to see items. I would say I want to see some quantity, some the quantity, high streak, the unit price. Just give it as, you're already not to write SQL queries. I'm going to say give it as revenue. And I'm going to say from which table I'm referencing my sales table. I'm going to say group by item, order by revenue. So let's see order by revenue, and also want it in a descending order. So if I should have this executed, you're going to see this for items, for revenue, and I said, okay, it was just items and revenue. Okay, just two column headers. So order by revenue. So you can write your SQL queries. You could use this is your run button. So your run button enables you to run your query and view your result, which as showed here, we have for the product, we have for revenues, and so on. So another interesting thing I want us to look at, I want us to look at a visual query. So I really want us to look at a visual query. So if I use my dropdown for new SQL query, you're also going to see new visual query. So if I click on new visual query, you can see I use this dropdown new SQL queries. You can see this is a queries I've written. All the queries I have written, the queries I've selected, you can see SQL queries. So even if I should X this out, your query is still here. It could also, you see, so even if I should X everything out here, my queries is still here. So Fabric is actually a very interesting tool. So for my visual query, on my visual query, and we want to do visuals is just like a drag and drop. That's what I mean by visual query. So I'm going to simply drag my sales table, which is on my DBO. I'm just going to drag my sales table to my new visual query. You can see how I'm dragging, right? I'm dragging the table. So I think I'm also going to X this out. Okay, that's still loading. I can also say, I think my mouse is heavy. So it's simply just drag and drop. So instead of deleting to save time, I'm just going to drag. I'm just going to show you how to do that again on your on your sales table, on my sales table, so on my sales table, this is my visual query. So that's how to drag and drop. Just have it selected and drag it and drop. So I already have it, the other one I had dragged, so I won't want to drag it again. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So on my visual query, so what is my visual query trying to do? In my visual query, if I should expand these columns using the plus icon on my manage column. So you can see I have transform. It's just, I'm sure it's just going to give you a view of your Power Query editor window. So I have my combine, I have transform, and so on and so forth. So on my manage columns, I have manage columns, reduce rows, sort. Do you want to sort in an ascending order, and so on and so forth. We are just going to just see two of it and so on. So in my manage columns, if I come to on my manage columns, if I come to choose columns, I'm going to go to choose columns. So if I choose column, I'm just going to uncheck everything. And I just want to choose only the sales order number and the sales order line number. So when I choose these two columns, I'm just going to click on OK. Yeah, you're already familiar with that. So any transformation that is being carried out, your visual query is going to let you know that a transformation is being carried out. So in my transform menu, in this my transformation menu, this is transform. I'm going to say group my data. I'm going to use a group by column. So I'm going to say group my data. So when I choose group by, so I'm just going to be using basic for basic settings for this. So new column, we can just call it line items. We can just call it line items. Operation could just be just count distinct values, count distinct values, and columns is going to be sales order column. So when I'm done with that, I'm just going to click on OK. So any you can see that any transformation that is being carried out is you could see is writing it out for us, just like in Power BI applied steps. We have tables, choose columns, and group rows. So that's what you can see. So the next thing now is to create our report. This one we're just doing basic transformation for you to see. They can see group by what do you want to group by what. You can either choose to combine as merge queries as new. You can choose to save it as view your sequels, refresh, and so on and so forth. So the next thing we want to do is to create our report. So how do we create our report? So for us to create a report of in my data lake, remember that the tables in your lake house automatically added to default semantic Power BI. So in my toolbar, so this is my toolbar, new SQL queries. This is for if you want to write a new SQL queries, you want to write SQL. So I'm just going to X this out. So I have my or if I use this drop down, new visual. So this visuals enables you to reduce the number of rows and so on and so forth. If you're familiar with Power BI, you'll be familiar with this. So having said that, we just want to create our visuals. So to create our visuals, I'm going to switch over to model layout. So for model layout, on my model layout, you're going to be seeing a lot of weird things. These are just histories in my data. So all these execute requests, session history are part of the query insights schema. These schemas are automatically created by Fabric. So it is a feature that provides an holistic view of historical query activity on the SQL analytic endpoint. So this is it, long queries and so on. And so our focus is not here. So we are just going to be dragging Our focus is not there. So our focus is just this our sales table that we are going to drag. So I think I can take this a little bit here. So our focus is just on this, our sales table. So this is just my model layout. So you could see this is just my model layout, like I've told you. So this is just histories, execution history, and so on and so forth. So on my menu ribbon, you can see I have home tab. I also have reporting. See very well, I have my home tab. I also have my reporting tab. So in my reporting tab, I'm going to click on new report. So when I click on new report, I'm going to see this. I'm going to say to create a report, first add data to the semantic model, blah, 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 to use all and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to click on create reports. I'm actually trying to run quickly so that you can also get to see how to bring in a JSON file. So this is my Power BI interface. On my Power BI interface, you're already familiar with it. This is my Power BI interface, my sales. This is my sales table in my Power BI interface. So I'm just going to be selecting two items. So I'm going to select, I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select items and quantity for you to have a pictorial representation of our data. So we have come to building report in our data. So you can choose any one you want. Do you need the table format? Let's say, do you need this table format, the matrix chart, any chart, any type of chart you want? Do you need the cluster bar chart, and so on and so forth? So in your menu, on your first menu, you can actually save your report. You can choose to save it as an item report. So I'm going to save it as item report. So I'm going to say enter name. So we can say item sales report. So when I say item sales report, I'm just going to leave this optional. I'm going to click on save. So my items, you can see my report has been saved. So now that my report has been saved, you have seen how we have moved from loading our data into Power BI. You have also seen how we converted our data from a CSV file to a table format. So why did we convert it to a tabular format? This is to enable us query the data. That's why you could see where we were using the SQL analytic endpoint. And you have also seen where we also use the visuals where we created. We could also see where we use the visual query where we did the selection of the columns and so on and so forth. So you can actually save your report. You can choose to share your report. Maybe people within your organization can choose to export files and so on and so forth. So you can also switch back. I know you tell me, how can I switch back to my DSN, my lake house? So this is my warehouse. This is where my query. This you could see here. This is my warehouse. This is my queries. This is my visuals, my visual query. This is where I was selecting my columns. So everything is done within one analytic platform. And you can also see this is my sales report. This is where I built a report. I think I put this in focus. So this is where I built a report. So I can just go back to report. So I can click on edit. I want to go back to edit this report. Maybe I need it in the tabular format. I need it in any kind of format I want. So you just interact with it. You play around with it and see how to go about it. So if you want to clean up this workspace, I can switch over to my DSN space if I don't need this workspace. Clean up workspace means I want to delete this workspace. So how do I delete this workspace? So I think that while that is still loading, okay, well, before I clean up the workspace, I think that's while that is still loading. I think my system is actually lagging, so I'm just going to give you a few minutes. So I'm just going to be taking questions because we are wrapping up. We're almost wrapping up in 2 minutes. So if you have any question, just let me know. Okay, just ask your question on the comment section while my it's loading. Yeah, just ask your question on the comment section. I'm just going to be looking at the chat box. I wanted to quickly show us how to convert to a JSON file, or if time doesn't permit that. Of course, you can use Python or Microsoft Fabric. We'll be coming to that. You can use Python or Microsoft Fabric. I'm seeing a question. I couldn't create a workspace because asking me to upgrade my license. I don't know. You could just put that on the Telegram platform, so we could just help you with the your error message. I think yes, you can use Python. We'll also be seeing how to use Python in that regards. No, Microsoft Fabric doesn't consist of Power BI and SQL. It doesn't consist of Power BI. It is an all-in-one platform. You can query your data, you can build your report, you can train your machine learning models. My screen is actually lagging. I think it's because of that. I would have loved to take you back, but since it's a recorded session, you can always go back and watch the session. This is how you migrate from. Oh, the preview page. Yeah, so this is, you can see this is my right hand side. This is my DSN leg. I can switch between either I want to go to my warehouse, I want to go to my lake house, I want to go to my report, and this is my workspace. So I wanted to show you how if you click on your workspace, you see that your workspace has housed all the items that we have created, which is a report, a semantic models that has all the items that we have created. So it's not limited to Power BI only. I don't know why that is still taking time to load. Okay, so this is better now. So in just in a few minutes, let me quickly could see this is my workspace that house my lakehouse, my semantic models. Look at these types, my lakehouse, semantic models, SQL analytics, and my report. So I want to quickly switch to my lakehouse. I want to switch to my lakehouse because I want to show you how to convert your data in a JSON file to a table format. So you could see that for me, this is data. These data are brought. Your lakehouse supports unstructured data, semi-structured data, and structured data. So for you to be able to query this data, you have to convert it into a structured data, like I said, using these three ellipses, which is load to table, which is this. If I should click on load to table, is it a new table or an existing table? So this existing table is the sales table. But when we select this JSON file, you can see that this JSON file doesn't support load to table. So how do you bring your data into load to table? So this is where I'm also going to be touching. I'm going to use my drop down get data. Or my drop down for get data, I'm going to select new data flow gen 2. So just quickly, I think in 10 minutes time. So my new data flow gen 2, we can just say, let's just leave it as one quickly. I'm just going to leave this as optional. I'm just quickly going to say create. If you're familiar with Power BI, this is a view of Power BI query editor window. So now, how are we going to get this data into our data flow gen 2? So on my get data option, I'm going to click on more. When I click on more, please just pay attention to this. The session is recorded, so you could always go back to, I just want to quickly finish this up in just 5 seconds or 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to search for, you can quickly search for fabric if time doesn't permit. You could see, I'm going to use this view mode. These are different data sources. So in my different data sources, I have files, database, Microsoft Fabric, Power Platform. So I'm going to go to Microsoft Fabric. When I go to Microsoft Fabric, my data is housed in a lake house. So I'm going to quickly select lake house as my data source. I'm just going to leave every connection as default, and I'm going to go to next. So these are all the workspaces in my lake house. We have demo. Okay, that one is for me. So I'm going to quickly go to DSN space. So on DSN space, we have DSN lake, and I'm still expanding my columns. Under my columns, you see, these are the history I told you. These are the histories I had referred you to. So well, that one is just like the back end of what Fabric is trying to do for us. If I expand files, on my files, you're going to see JSON. So I'm going to keep expanding. I'm going to have this JSON selected, and I'm going to click on create. You see, I am not copying any data. I'm trying to take in data from my lake house. My lake house is just within my fabric. So I'm not copying, I'm not getting new data source, everything all in one analytic platform. You see that now that I've brought in my JSON files are in what? They're in records, they're in rows. So how do you convert this data? So these are what we have in this data. So these are the records in this data. If I should click on if I have this selected, these are the records in this data. So I don't want to click on that. So these are the records in this data. So I'm simply just going to highlight Control A on my data, and I'm going to go to, on my home tab, you see list tools. So this is in a list. I'm going to convert it to a table format. So I'm just going to quickly click on table to format. I'm just going to leave everything as default, and I'm going to click on OK. When I click on OK, you can see that these now have columns instead of lists. So I can quickly expand this double arrow. I'm going to uncheck this. I don't need to select all. I can choose to, but I just want to select only my names, my age, my city. And I'm going to say use original column headers as prefix. So which simply means that I'm going to perform a little transformation to this data. We have converted our data from list. You could see these column headers are not descriptive, and data types are basically a representation of what you have in your columns. So in this column, John Doe, Jane Smith is a text data type. So I'm quickly going to convert that to text. I'm on my age data type, and I'm going to convert from age, I'm going to change it to, it's numeric, so we're going to leave it whole numbers. And city are basically text, so I'm going to change the data types to, I'm going to change it to a text data type. So you have seen how we have structured this data in a table format. Now, how do we get this data back into our lakehouse? I'm going to simply, on my, you could see below where I have my data destination, it's saying that my data destination is coming from a lake house. So on my data destination, I'm quickly going to click on publish. I can, on my data, before I do that route, I'm going to go to, okay, on my data destination, I'm going to click on publish. Okay, yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. You could see that add data destination. This data destination is grayed out. It's grayed out because your data destination is already in a lakehouse. So I'm just going to click on publish. So when I click on publish, you see it's still loading my data flow gen. So this is where all your data transformation, your data cleaning, it has the experience of a Power BI Power Query Editor window in Power BI. Yes, it has that experience. So this is where all your data cleaning, your data transformation is being done. And I think it's actually gonna take some time. So if you have any questions, we are wrapping up the session. You can ask your question. Okay, yeah. So let me just open the chat and see questions. I'm seeing who needed to work email, who we needed a work email to sign into Fabric. So how do we get that, please? So how do we get that? So for you to be able to have access to, I would say for us to be able to have access to this to practice, I'm just going to give it just like kind of a little, should I say, something that I shouldn't put online, but I'm just going to click on a new window. If you're familiar with, if you're familiar with Zoom chat challenge, yes, they usually give free license for, so you could just use it for a couple of months. I think it's just, I think for a couple of days or thereabouts to just practice, at least don't get lagged in the class. I think Zoom challenge. So if you go online, you search for, okay, so you have to have a Power BI developers account to be able to access Fabric. It's an online platform. Like I'm saying, is there a difference between Fabric and Azure platform? So when we talk of Azure, what Azure is not an all-in-one analytics. Azure is not an all-in-one analytic platform. So there's a difference between Fabric and Azure. Um, why is there saying to upgrade your license? You have like Moses, you have a work account. If you have a work account like emails, like a work account that is rated to, let's say, on Microsoft.com, it doesn't recognize your personal emails. So it does not recognize your personal email. So it has, if you have accounts like Microsoft on Microsoft.com, so it's gonna recognize your account. Of course, someone asked me if we can use Python on Fabric. So I think this has finished loading. So I'm just going to switch back to my new item. On my new item, just to let you know that you can use Python on Fabric, I'm going to switch over to, let's go to Notebook. So you are making us come pre-prepared for this session. So when you click on Notebooks, Notebooks is going to open. I'm just going to show you the user interface of Notebook. So in Notebook, you can see, welcome to your new notebook. The same data I have in my Lakehouse is the same data I'm going to use to query. It's the same data I can use to train my machine learning models, or it's also the same data I can also use to do what you can see if I should say add data items. That's me existing data sources or new data lakes. I can click on existing data sources. So you could change which environment you want to use. Spark Python, Spark Scala, Spark SQL, Spark R. Do you want to use Python? Do you want to use T-SQL Analytics? So it also gives you that feel to open this in a VS Code or also add your data. So we're also going to be coming to the data science aspect of Microsoft Fabric. Like I said, you don't need to know everything. Look for an ecosystem that suits your interest and develop your knowledge on it. So we also have data items, we also have resources. I think I've even worked on something like this before, but we would be coming a lot interesting to that. So I don't know if you have any question. I've answered all the questions. Mhm.
Wow, awesome delivery. Thank you so much, Ibotidem, for this enlightening session. Oh, this is packed. This is packed. There's a lot to actually digest in. I mean, there's a lot to soak in. So I'm excited to inform you all that this session is recorded and we're going to be making it available on our DSN YouTube channel very soon. Yeah, before the day runs out, you can check again to see it's available there. So all our sessions are always recorded because we know this the time is always short for us to take in a lot. So we always make all the recording available on our DSN YouTube channel for you to always fall back on. Thank you so much, Imbuti. Them. I mean, if you I mean, if this has made your day already, let me see your yes in the chat. Let me see your favorite emoji. Let me see your favorite. So the data set will be shared. I will be making it available for everybody so that you can also practice. I mean, you can also practice at your convenience. If you've enjoyed this session, let me see your yes in the chat. Let me see your favorite emoji. Let's appreciate them for taking us. Thank you so much, Ubeno. Thank you so much, HP. Yeah, thank you so much. Alhamdulillah is she's sending in her favorite emoji. Everybody is saying yes. Thank you so much, them. This is a very good one. It's an awesome delivery. So we've taken questions already. And we'll also be sharing the attendance link in the chat. It's very important for you to mark your presence in the class whenever we come in like this. Yeah, because we are actually tracking attendance. So it's very important that you always fill out the form whenever we share it in the chat. So I'll be leaving this again for the next 10 seconds for those of us who are here to scan the QR code for the attendance to quickly scan it and fill it to mark your presence. The link has also been dropped several times in the chat for our use. Yes, so something about like 5 seconds more. Okay, yes, so the Africa AI Day 2025 event, we'll be talking about this since last week. So there will be a new date for the Africa AI Day 2025. There will be a new day for Africa AI Day 2025, but we are all encouraged to register for this event. This is what we call African gathering actually. We are convening all Africans to come and learn about what is happening in the world of AI. So we are going to be communicating, I mean, we are going to be sharing more details about the event as time goes on. And we have the LinkedIn Premium, the Career Essentials training that we're also I mean everybody is participating in currently. So there's a need for you if you've completed your learning. Make sure that you fill your form. I mean to make your submission of you need to submit your certificate so that we can know that you've completed this training. This has also been on since last week, and I think the deadline should even okay. So it's from 19 to 26 May 2025. So if you have not completed yours, I am encouraging you to quickly get done with it so that you can make your submission and you can be considered for a LinkedIn Premium voucher. Yeah, that is the reward for participating in the training. And then the QR code for the feedback is also I'm sharing it now so that we can all feel this. I mean, we want to hear from you. We always organize events, we always organize training like this. We want to make sure that we improve on our delivery, and that's why we're always asking for your feedback. So I'll kindly fill this. The form is actually anonymous, so you can share your honest opinion about the delivery of our event. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. It's been an awesome 1 hour. 1 hour 44 minutes actually. This session started at exactly 11 a.m. and here we are at 12:44 p.m. Nigerian time. Thank you so much. So this session continues on Wednesday and we're going to be having the grand finale on Friday. So we're only going to be having 3 sessions of the end-to-end data analytics with Microsoft Fabrics. Thank you so much, everyone, for dialing in. See you on Wednesday. So the learning continues. You can keep checking our DSN YouTube channel after this call. We're going to be uploading this exact session. I mean, this same session that we just completed. We're going to be uploading it on our YouTube channel so that you can fall back on it and I mean solidify your learning because yes, there's actually a lot to soak in. Thank you so much, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. See you on Wednesday.